am the newest member of the board of the African Bicycle Contribution Foundation. And on behalf of ABCF, I am so excited to be here with you tonight and so excited about the conversation we're going to have around why women need to have a seat at the table. This was an effort to bring together women from industry, from government, from nonprofits, as well as profits, as well as academia, to talk about the challenges and the issues for women entrepreneurs, both in the United States as well as throughout Africa. And I'm going to start by introducing the people, the women, who are going to be carrying this conversation forward for us tonight, starting off with Bernice DePauw. Bernice is founder and CEO of the Ghana Bamboo Bike Initiative based in Kumasi, Ghana. Her company makes the iconic, you see it right here, Eco-Ride bamboo bike. In her capacity as CEO, she oversees project design, she monitors and evaluates mechanisms, processes, and targets related to the project and then provides feedback to her project teams. Bernice has been recognized by the World Economic Forum as one of its young global leaders. She's the recipient of numerous awards, including the World Entrepreneurship Forum's Entrepreneur of the Year. She's an alumna of Harvard University's Executive Education Program, and she sits on the advisory board of the World Intellectual Property Organization, GREEN. She was just selected as one of the most influential people of African descent in business entrepreneurship. She will be recognized for this honor later this week when she goes to New York as part of the UN General Assembly. Bernice DePauw. Our next panelist, Jerry-Ann DiPiano. Jerry-Ann is president and CEO of Fem Pharma Global Healthcare, Inc., and chairman of the board of directors for Fem Pharma Holding Company. Jerry-Ann founded this innovative company in 1996 to address the industry's narrow focus on women's health needs. Her company developed prescription pharmaceuticals specifically designed for women. Jerry-Ann has more than 30 years' experience in the healthcare industry and executive experience in sales, marketing, licensing, and business development for leading multinational pharmaceutical companies. Jerry-Ann serves on numerous boards, including trustee for Drexel University, St. Joseph's University, an adjunct professor, and holds a Doctor's of Science from the University of the Sciences in Philadelphia. She has been named by the industry's leading periodical, Pharma Voice, as one of the 100 most inspiring individuals in the U.S. and one of the top 12 entrepreneurs. Jerry DiPiano. Now, as she's being mic'd up, I'm going to introduce Dr. Nina Ahmad. Nina Ahmad is Deputy Mayor for the Office of Public Engagement for Philadelphia Mayor Jim Kenney. Nina oversees the city's community outreach and engagement. As Deputy Mayor, Nina has a broad portfolio, including the city's Youth Commission, the Office of Black Male Engagement, and the Commission for Women. As a business entrepreneur, Nina is co-founder of J&A Capital, which is at the forefront of developing projects for urban mixed-use communities which serve as anchors to leading academic institutions. Nina is president of the Philadelphia chapter of NOW. She serves on the boards of the Philadelphia Foundation, the Pennsylvania Immigration and Citizenship Coalition, and Women's Campaign International. Nina is also a true Renaissance woman. She has her PhD in chemistry from the University of Pennsylvania and discovered, and I'm not even sure what this means, but she discovered the first direct evidence of a gene mutation which provided the starting point for molecular genetic research into osteoarthritis. Dr. Nina Ahmad.
We are making strides as women entrepreneurs, but we're really not making enough progress. And, to be honest, we as women do well with interesting ideas. Sometimes they're even disruptive ideas. But we have to think larger. We have to think bigger. We have to think more impact. And we have to do so by building businesses that have large recurring revenue bases. So while we have made progress, we're still only 5% of the Fortune 500. So 26 women sitting on Fortune 500 companies as CEOs. That's not where we need to be.
I wrote an article about Madam C.J. Walker's access, how she had access to capital. So she was, born. She was she was emancipated. She was born to a family who was emancipated, and she rose from the cotton fields all the way to being potentially, I think she's called the first a woman millionaire. And so, how did she do it? She used her social capital to do it. She didn't have anybody handing her money from a bank or money from any source. She used her church circuit. She used what she had and leveraged that. That's great. She did a great job, but it was all on her sweat equity that she was building all of this.
As you could see, Ghana Bamboo Bikes is using local raw materials to manufacture bicycles. We're creating employment for the youth in Ghana. We're using our local raw materials. We have a lot of women on board in our country creating employment, and our current government is so happy about the initiative. Right now, Ghana Bamboo Bikes seems to be one of the mouthpieces for most young women in Ghana as entrepreneurs.
What we look at businesses that are the men put together, they have networks where they can leverage each other to bring in capital. We need to create those networks. So Madam C.J. Walker did something at her time which was amazing. Unfortunately, we haven't progressed much, is the problem. So her grit and determination, and she was a unique individual, made her do it. However, we all have grit and we all have resilience. And I think what we need to do is now use them and make sure our voices are heard. Simple things as speaking up at a meeting. We can talk more about those things. The New York Times had an article about women being silenced. And that's your first step, not to be silenced.
A lot of challenges that we were going through. Patricia never left out day in and day out, taking us like a baby, calling us, Bernice, what's going on? Make sure you be on track. And these are
women
some of
reaching out to other women.
These are some of the things we should see how best we can all put our heads together to not only on financial, but this is kind of, always tell Patricia, it's just like free consultancy. I can never get it anyway. Yeah.
We heard about the glass ceiling and the multi-generations of feminism, and I hate to use the word feminism, it's really about equalism. But the truth of the matter is that women reach a level and then they become frustrated. So in terms of becoming entrepreneurial, in order to break the glass ceiling, they create their own ceiling. So they exit large corporations and go off and venture on their own to build businesses where they can set their own culture and their own terms and really become leaders within the community. So that is the golden age of entrepreneurism. It's the frustration, it's born out of the frustration that women feel when they work in large organizations where they are not because they are incapable, but they are not being given the opportunities. In 1995, there were zero women CEOs of Fortune 500 companies.
There's a lot of opportunity, given now that we live in such a global environment. You can be sitting in your house in your pajamas and you can be having an online business, right?
Women. It is possible to build something. It is possible to build something big. It is possible to build something that has recurring revenue. It doesn't come without challenges, and we've certainly had our challenges.
But why not take all this other resources that you have and tailor it to being who you are, and your needs? And I think we need to push that. And that's where the policy piece comes in.
The concept of mentoring, which men do very well, but women are not as great in the mentoring capacity. So it's time for us to lift up our sisters.
And I think that we have to tap into these natural networks that we have and expand them and connect them and not feel afraid. So a lot of times women who are in a lonely position feel that if they're too womanly, whatever that might be, makes them weaker. Mm-hmm. So they don't feel they need to give that level of
not embracing our
natural talents, our natural proclivities.
If I pushed a point, if I made a point, I was being aggressive. The same guy sitting next to me makes the point, he's being assertive. There's this communications conundrum, this double standard. So how do we get around that?
You own communication. Yeah, women doing all of it.
Yeah.
And saying we're not going to let you set the narrative. we will take charge of that narrative. We just have to be very forthcoming about saying, we have to be bold, you call me whatever you want to call me, but this is my agenda. I'm not going to walk over you, but if I need to, I will, if you're going to stand in my way, right?
Essentially, if you don't conform to the gender stereotype, you are punished. Mm-hmm. Women are punished, which gets to the root of this communications issue. And you're right, we have to change that agenda. And that is not an easy feat, but we have the capacity to do so. So using confidence when you speak is acceptable. Being mean-spirited, being personal is not acceptable. By the way, it's not acceptable for men or for women. So we shouldn't confuse confidence with abrasiveness.
Mm-hmm. How can you collaborate with whether it's Philadelphia, Baltimore, DC, to play on a larger stage?
There are so few women, again, in senior executive positions. The middle level is just trying to work themselves to the bone to prove themselves. And women always work harder. In fact, Pew Research will attest to this. Women work harder than their male counterparts. Their male counterparts, by the way, recognize that they're working harder. So they're just trying to keep pace and trying to figure out how to make the next level. The women that are in senior executive and leadership positions are few and far between. And again, trying to keep their head above water, not because they don't have the ability, but because they're really restricted in terms of the time. They're held to a different standard. Again, more data, Pew Research. They are held to a different standard.
And I think we need to encourage people to say, at different points of our life, we have different gifts we bring, and how do you honor them? Young people have to be held accountable too. I mean, we just can't be we give everything to the young people and we're just going to be sacrificial. No, it's a two-way street, and your expectations have to be high of people, of all the time, of yourself as well as others.
Sometimes some of the young people try to be a bit of shy away from you. So with my little experience, I could see sometimes such women that we are trying to see how best we can do something different within our communities. We should be a bit open to see how best we can get involved with the upcoming, young ladies who want to do something in a different way.
What can we, out of all of these great ideas, how do we move the needle? How do we advance this conversation?
But I think everyone should leave here knowing one person you didn't know, and then what is your intersection with them, besides being a woman, or besides identifying as a woman. So I would recommend to be very proactive and just do it. Sometimes we're like, oh, we need a plan, we need this. Just do it. Just do it.
So we should just take it as an example to see how best we can connect to each other, as not only here, but at the grassroots level. So I could see especially the young people, they have a lot of talent. Let's see how best we can connect as women. Not women alone, but also with the women, to see how best we can make it happen.
That's such a powerful message.
That we need to be intentional, and we need to be intentional on a number of different areas. We talk about women and the power of the purse, right? $14 trillion of U.S. wealth is in the hands of women. What are we doing with that money? Should we not be supporting one another? So open up your purses. Support your fellow woman, right? Support your fellow woman. That's one thing. Mentor women. Create a safe space for them so that they feel comfortable coming to you and speaking to you. Teach women to be bold, and you can do that by example. Women should not be intimidated. They should be taught not to be fearful of failing. So when you see a woman and she's failed, pick her up and let her know that it's okay to fail. It's how she responds to that failure that makes the difference.
More and more young women need to know that there are women out there doing great things. These stories need to be shared.
The climate that we're in is not going to change unless we do something about it. So, are we going to have a seat at the table, or we're going to stand in the hall and just talk about it? So, today, when you leave here, I want you to make a decision Are you going to stand in the hallway and talk about it? Or are you going to open up the door and say, hey, I'm here. I have something to say. I can do this. Yes, I can. All of us, we were so much more, I mean, the advantage that we had, and we're like, I don't know. I don't know. Yes, you can. So today, let's decide whether we want to stand outside the door and let everyone else just pass us by, or we're going to knock on the door and say, there's a seat over there. Got my name on it. So, thank you.
Thank you, Patricia.